What if there's a single cosmic force, one so profound, so ancient, that it's been quietly guiding humanity for millennia? And what if this force, often called the world teacher or the Christ principle, is on the verge of reappearing right now? Across countless cultures, people wait for a savior figure, whether it's the second coming of Christ, the arrival of Maitreya Buddha, the return of Krishna, or the emergence of the Imam Mahdi. But here's where it gets wild. Many esoteric teachings suggest all these prophecies point to one great consciousness, one divine office that steps forward whenever humanity teeters on the brink. Today, we stand at a crossroads, faced with unprecedented environmental threats, political turmoil, and social upheaval. Could this mounting chaos be the very signal that calls forth the next appearance of the Christ principle? Stay with me, because the answers might just redefine everything you believe about the future of our world. From the earliest records of civilization, we see stories of a future teacher or deliverer, someone who lifts humanity from darkness. In Christianity, faithful believers cling to the promise of Christ's return. In Buddhism, texts speak of Maitreya descending to guide the next great age. Hindu traditions anticipate the reappearance of Krishna, while Shia Islam looks to the Imam Mahdi to restore justice. Although each tradition uses different names and narratives, the underlying message is surprisingly similar. A guiding light will emerge when humanity's crisis peaks. This wasn't random myth-making. It was prophecy woven across continents, centuries, and cultures. But here's the twist. Modern esoteric schools propose that these aren't a dozen different saviors, but rather different faces of a single unifying truth. They describe a divine or cosmic office that animates specific individuals throughout history to deliver the message we most desperately need at precisely the right time. These appearances, they say, act like evolutionary checkpoints, ushering us from one developmental phase to another. So how exactly does this Christ principle operate? According to esoteric teachings, such as those found in Theosophy or in works by Alice Bailey, there's a spiritual hierarchy that helps steer humanity. At the heart of that hierarchy is the role we've come to call the Christ, an office that one great soul occupies to convey divine wisdom whenever humanity is in greatest need. If we look back, we might see echoes. Krishna thousands of years ago, revealing eternal truths in the Bhagavad Gita. Jesus of Nazareth, overshadowed by this consciousness, proclaiming universal love and unity. Each time, the Christ principle appears in the cultural context most likely to ignite global transformation. But it doesn't end there. After each teaching cycle, this energy withdraws, allowing humanity to integrate the lessons for a time before stepping in again. If we dare to believe the signs, many mystics and spiritual students say the time is now ripe for the next grand revelation. A new teacher drawing near, ready to guide us through the chaos of our modern era. Look around. The 21st century has unleashed an onslaught of challenges. Global pandemics, climate catastrophes, economic inequalities, and political divisions that seem to widen by the day. It's easy to see these crises as doomful evidence that we're headed for disaster. However, esoteric traditions suggest that such tipping points are precisely when higher forces intervene. It's as though humanity collectively hits a wall, realizes its own limitations, and cries out, often unconsciously, for something greater. This is what triggers the spiritual hierarchy to respond with renewed guidance. In many ancient calendars and spiritual predictions, this era marks a transition from the Piscean age, defined by devotion, dogma, and hierarchical thinking into the Aquarian age of collaboration, open-minded inquiry, and global unity. When the old structures start buckling and new energies try to break through, everything feels chaotic. But that chaos, say the teachings, is the birth pangs of a new phase of evolution, one the world teacher arrives to midwife into reality. Quick pause. Does this idea of a single guiding principle, appearing under many names, resonate with you? If you've ever felt there's a hidden pattern behind humanity's spiritual search, drop a comment below with the word yes, because once you see the interweaving threads of these prophecies, it changes how you view every tradition, every ancient text, and perhaps even your own potential to be part of this unfolding story. We can't talk about the reappearance of the world teacher without mentioning those quietly working in the background, the masters of wisdom. Legends and esoteric literature describe them as advanced human souls who have finished their personal evolutionary journey but remain on Earth to guide the rest of us. Sometimes known as the Great White Brotherhood, the Ascended Masters, or simply the Hierarchy. These beings have influenced many pivotal moments in human history. They inspire scientific breakthroughs, philosophical revolutions, and social movements, doing so from behind the scenes to avoid undermining our free will. Now, in the run-up to the next unveiling of the Christ principle, these masters are said to be preparing the stage, nudging us toward broader unity, compassion, and collective problem-solving. When the moment is right, the world teacher and his closest collaborators could step forward more openly. This time, it might not be limited to a small region as in centuries past. Instead, modern technology could broadcast this emergence across the entire globe in real time, shattering any sense that spiritual events belong to a distant mythical past. But what would a modern return of the Christ principle look like? Forget the old, simplistic images of a lone figure descending on a cloud or confined to a single religion. The new paradigm suggests a universal approach. No more one faith is right and the rest are wrong. Instead, the re-emergent Christ would guide humanity to recognize the underlying unity in all spiritual traditions. This teacher would emphasize practical solutions for our modern crises, from ecological stewardship to equitable economic systems and advanced education that nurtures not just the mind, but also the soul. Imagine a world where cooperation is the default setting, where radical sharing of resources replaces cutthroat competition, and where technology serves the higher good rather than corporate profit. This is the Aquarian Age vision, an era that marries heart-based spirituality with real-world innovation, forging a civilization that values empathy, justice, and community. The Christ doesn't show up to wave a wand and fix everything. Rather, he sparks in us a deep realization that we are the ones who must build this future together. So how do we actually prepare for such a monumental shift? It starts within each of us. Spiritual traditions aren't about waiting passively. They're about active, conscious participation. We can't expect a world teacher to do all the heavy lifting. Instead, we must create the conditions where higher guidance can flourish. One cornerstone is cultivating what's known as right human relations, seeing every person as part of the same family, caring for the planet as an extension of ourselves, and refusing to perpetuate bigotry or exploitation. Another key is service. Whether it's volunteering in our communities or championing global causes, when we serve, we align our intentions with the greater good. This alignment, in turn, makes it easier for higher energies, like those of the Christ principle, to flow into our collective life. Meditation, prayer, and study can also help us clarify our minds, so we can discern genuine teachers from false prophets. Because rest assured, in a time of transition, there are always opportunists trying to capitalize on people's hopes and fears. The best armor against deception is a heart awakened by love, guided by discernment, and reinforced by knowledge. When we step back and look at the larger tapestry of human evolution, we begin to see a pattern. Each major leap in consciousness arrives when we're on the brink, like seeds that sprout only after the ground has been thoroughly shaken. Lemuria, Atlantis, ancient civilizations, the Age of Enlightenment. Each era served as a stepping stone. Now, with globalization, digital interconnection, and the heightened awareness of our shared fate, it's as if Earth itself is calling for a spiritual renaissance. The Christ principle is the symbol of that renaissance, a guiding energy that dissolves barriers of creed, nationality, and ideology. As more people awaken to this possibility, the more potent the collective invocation becomes. And as the invocation grows stronger, the conditions become ripe for an open, public reappearance. But it won't be a spectacle to watch from the sidelines. It will be a dance we participate in, one that demands we integrate the highest qualities of love, wisdom, and service into our everyday lives. Here's the ultimate takeaway. The World Teacher's return isn't about miracles descending from the sky to save us. It's an urgent invitation to co-create a new phase of life on Earth, one that balances intellect and compassion, technology and spirituality, autonomy and interconnectedness. The Christ principle stands as a beacon, a voice that says, "You have the power to transform this world from within." That voice is already echoing through global consciousness. The question is, are we willing to answer? Will we keep feeding the old narratives of division and fear? Or will we step up and embody the unity we claim to desire? If this sparks something inside you, if it resonates on a level deeper than words, then you're already part of this unfolding story. So let's keep the conversation going. Tell me in the comments, do you think this changes everything you once believed about prophecy, religion, and the future of humanity? And if you want more illuminating explorations like this, hit that subscribe button, because trust me, we're just getting started. There's so much more to uncover about who we truly are, why we're here, and how we can rise to meet the challenge of this pivotal moment in human evolution.